Hey y'all, I'm Emily, the Shady Grove Stitcher, and I love creating beautiful hand-stitched pieces. Welcome to the Pink Room, where I share my love of cross-stitch by showcasing projects I've completed in my quest to fill an antique cabinet my husband and I inherited from my in-laws. Hello, my little internet friends. Welcome back for Flosstube episode 23. We're back in the living room because it's dark 30 outside and there is little to no light in the pink room. So I decided my husband is on a city committee and he had to go to a meeting tonight. So I was like, it's a great time for me to talk to you guys. I'm sorry about the noise. So Henry's coming and going outside. We have a doggy door and so he's gonna be coming in and out. His tummy doesn't feel so good, bless his heart. All right. I wanted to start by saying there are now over 3,000 of you guys, which is wild to me. I know that there are a ton of channels that are bigger than mine. I know that in the grand scheme of things, people might scoff at 3,000. I happen to think it is a giant deal. I meant to say something to you guys about it last time, and then I forgot because I didn't make a note. That's on me. So I just wanted to say thank you for being here and I appreciate you so much. And I love that you enjoy spending time with me and all of those good things. Now, loosely related to that, I have a question about interacting with you more. So I've talked to other people. Flosstube is weird. I come into your living room, I'm on your TV, and you feel like you know me, but there are only a couple of people that I feel like I really know because it's hard for me to interact with you. There's not really a forum for me to hear back from you unless you leave a comment, right? So I've been kind of playing around a little bit with stories on Instagram. And I've just basically been like turning on the camera and talking about random things. Yesterday I was talking about I had a really good day. I've been talking about working on my floss drop project, just random things. It's nothing, it's more like behind the scenes junk is how I would classify it. But what I have noticed is that there is a much higher engagement with people and the videos instead of me just like showing a picture, which maybe me talking is more interesting than a photograph. So I know some of you have put in the comments before that you don't do Instagram. That's fine, but I'm just wondering, why don't you like Instagram? Why don't you use Instagram? Are shorts good for you on YouTube? I'm trying to figure out in 2026 how I can actually interact with you a little bit better and easier, or cater to you in a little bit different ways, because we've talked about it before. Like I don't have a bazillion projects to show you. And so sometimes I'm like trying to scrape together content. And I'm looking for ways to serve you better. And so if you have any ideas, I would really super love to hear them. Leave them in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Dasher and Dancer. Now, I didn't bring it out here. It's finished. Oh, we're going to play baby. Great. It's not out here. It's finished. I've showed it to you. I think everybody's tired of seeing it. But the reason I'm bringing it up is if you did the stitch along, you should be finished, or gosh darn close. Should have finished up in October. You may have had a little overhang into November. But you should be wrapping up. And so I just wanted to say, I hope you have made it this far. I know a couple of you have. I actually was going to put together a compilation of all of the finished Dasher and Dancers that I could find for people that used the hashtag, and then I found 3. So it's possible that you didn't use the hashtag, or you didn't tag me, or maybe you didn't finish, but I hope that if you stitched along, even if you didn't finish, that you had a good time and you made good progress. And if you did stitch along and finished, that you are very proud of what you've accomplished, because that's a big honking piece. Now, I do want to share with you this. So this came from Janice. It's just a little small trinket. She said, you know, we've been working on Dasher and Dancer, and I'm going to show you this tissue paper because I think it's adorable that it has the reindeer on it. She said, thank you for putting together the cell, and I just wanted to commemorate it. Would that be okay? So since y'all have walked this Dasher and Dancer road with me, I wanted to show this to you. I think this is, oh, sorry, here, let me put it in the back. This is so cute. Is it focused? I can't even tell. Hello? Hi. All right, there we go. The company is Siggy's Closet. It's siggyscloset.etsy.com. Also on Facebook and Instagram, but it's just a fob and it has the reindeer with all of the reindeer names. And it was such, I have no, what do we call these? I don't think it's a scissor fob, but it's like, it's cute, guys. It's cute. And you put it on your floss ring with all of your floss. And I don't have any of these. So to me, oh, there's a fly. There's a lot happening in here tonight. I'm so sorry. It's fun to get something new that I don't have. I think it's a bee. And it's a mad bee. I'll be right back. In the battle of Emily versus the flying bug, Emily lost. I don't know where it went. So anyway, I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by Mother Nature, I don't have any fobs like this, and to get one that's so closely tied to a meaningful project was just really, really fun. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Because we do haul, and so that was really fun. The other thing that I thought was hilarious, so when Janice reached out to me and she was like, promise I'm not a weirdo, I promise I'm not going to stalk you, and I was like, you're not going to send me a skein of lily pad, are you? Because I want to see lily pad maybe like never again. And she said no, although she did put in a really hilarious card, and in it she said, I really wanted to put in lily pad. But she sent me Forbidden Fiber Co. Poinsettia. What's the deal? I thought that I was doing better with the focus. The variegation in this is lovely. This is what she used. So I'm excited to try a new floss, a new to me floss. I think that that'll be a blast. So thank you again, Janice. I continue to be elated about this little tiny package. Okay, let me try to get it together here. The next thing that happened since I saw you last is I finished my floss bobbin project. Well, I reached the halfway point. So my goal, I have these acrylic drawers, and then I also have a set of DMC that I got from a secondhand shop. And my goal has been to convert all of my DMC to drops. And then as I pull from the secondhand stash, make drops out of that, or as I run out of mine, kind of empty the secondhand stash that way. It took way longer than expected, okay? Now, I started it, I can't remember when, and I lost interest, to be quite honest. And it takes a long time because I measure out 18 inches and then I pinch it and I measure another 18, so I have 36 inches in length. Then I measure the rest of my skein. I cut my whole skein into 36-inch lengths. I fold it in half and snip it, so then I have 18-inch lengths. I found that it went faster if I first did 36 and then went to 18 instead of doing 18 every time. And it just went on forever. So I was talking to my husband about floss winders. And if you're not familiar with them, they are, I'm going to show you one in a second. They're a piece of wood that you sort of like wrap your floss around and then snip it. And he is a woodworker, and I knew if I bought one that he might divorce me. And since I don't want to get divorced, I didn't do that. And we talked about it, and we found some scrap wood, and he was going to put one together for me, and great. Well, then my mom was like, can't you make one out of cardboard? And I was thinking cardboard can get kind of flimsy sometimes, so probably not. But you can make one out of a mat board, and it's pretty sturdy. So I cut mine. Now, I want 18-inch lengths of floss. So from this point to this point, which is where my floss sits, is 9 inches. And what I do is I lay my floss down and I wrap it around. All these little touchdown goals are doing is holding my floss in place and preventing it from falling off, okay? So I wrap. I'm not paying attention. I'm talking to people on stories. I'm talking to the dogs. Like, I'm not thinking. I'm not measuring. Nothing's happening. Wind. I'm done. I cut on the line, and now I have perfect, everything is 18 inches in length. I put it on the drop, it's over, okay? Great interim solution. Everybody has mat board or cardboard. I'm sure you could do it out of like a cereal box if you really had to, but this was sort of like my makeshift plan. And then my husband did not ask me. He came into the workroom, the closet. He got the template and he made me one out of wood. So he made it and he did not take into account, bless his heart, he's so hilarious. We had gone outside into the man zone and we had figured out, we had a piece of wood that was 1.5 inches wide, which is plenty wide. But it was rough and I was very worried that the grain of the wood was going to snag the floss. So I was saying, could we put it through the planer? Could we make it really smooth? Yada, yada, yada. So one day when I wasn't paying attention, he came in, he got my template, he went out to the man zone, he put it on top of the wood, he planed it, he routed the edges, all that. It's great. He didn't take into account that this is 1.5 inches and this is 2 inches. So I have a skinny side, a skinny goalpost and a fat goalpost, and the same thing, but opposite on the other end, a fat goalpost and a skinny goalpost. He doesn't know how he did it, and I don't care. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. He made me, this is not a drawn line. This is a little ridge so I can get the tip of my scissor underneath the floss to snip it. And he said, is it good? What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, could I get a hole? He said, why do you want a hole? And I said, so I can hang it on my pegboard. So if I were just, you can buy these in an Etsy shop. Now don't message me and say, well, your husband made me one. He ain't gonna. You can buy these in needle workshops. They're called Floss Winders. They come in beautiful wood. They cost anywhere from $10 to $20 depending on where you get them. I found several on Etsy that were lovely. They don't all have the goalposts on the end like this. Some of them are just curved a little bit at the top. I wouldn't have bought it, guys. I really wouldn't have bought it. It seemed to help me in this floss winding pickle I was in and tired of, and I didn't know that it was going to be a game changer. If I had known how much it would speed things up and allow me to not be so focused on pulling floss lengths and stuff, if I had known, I'd have done it a long time ago. So they're, like I said, you can get them for $10 to $20 and they're wood and they're lovely, but you can also make one out of mat board for basically free because you probably have a scrap at your house, and this is a game changer. If you were going from bobbins to drops, or even if you just have a brand new skein of floss that you're like DMC, that you're gonna put on a drop, Floss Winder, big dang deal. So wanted to share with you guys. I think that's sort of like all my housekeeping stuff, things that have been going on. I probably should have told you in the beginning what my piece was going to be today. And it is We Santa 2025 by Heart in Hand. Let me show it to you up close. You might be saying to yourself, hey, Emily, that pattern does not actually say Very Merry. I know it doesn't. I'm going to tell you all about it. So I stitched this on 40 count raw by Zweigart because I bought a ton of it for Hometown Holiday and I like the color. So anyway, here we are. I used the called for DMC. It is called Wee Santa, and I will tell you, it ain't that wee. It feels like it goes on forever. Now, Very Merry. It's supposed to say Christmas is coming because the poem is Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat, or the geese are getting fat. And there are geese, right? It did not float my boat. So on another Heart in Hand piece, she had Mary. So I took E-R-Y from Mary, and I made up a V and I just had Very Merry. Excuse me, because Very Merry is something that I say often. And like, so this felt more authentic to me. Now, let's talk about the piece itself. This paddle, I have no idea where the paddle came from, to be honest. I bought a 3-pack of these panels on Facebook Marketplace for $10. It did have a tag on it. The tag said it was $6.99. That's the extent of what I know about the paddle itself. I have a magnet, a disc magnet glued to the paddle with E6000, which is just if you're not familiar with it, it's just a strong glue. I had some and I thought, you know what? I might need something with a little more oomph than Aleene's. So I have the disc magnet. That way I can reuse this for anything else that is roughly this size, okay? It is stuck on the back with washers, a washer. I was talking about this on Instagram stories and a couple of people were like, can you talk about the magnets? Sure. I go to Home Depot. I choose some magnets that look like a good size for whatever my project is. And then I carry them over to the washer area and I find washers that stick to the magnets. This concludes everything I know about magnets. There are actually, so these disc magnets, the black ones, I find that they can sometimes be, I don't want to say greasy. Greasy makes it sound like it took a bath in WD-40, and that's not true, but they do sometimes have like a residue on them. So I clean mine with a degreaser before I ever put it on here because I'm a weirdo. I'm sure you don't have to, okay? Is that all I know about magnets? I think that's all I know about magnets. I have some that are a little bit larger, but I have no other plans for this right now, but I thought if I glue all of this to the paddle, well then I definitely can't use the paddle again. But if I put it on a magnet, I at least open myself up to opportunity. So that's what's going on with the magnets. Now, I also put this on my stories and said, hey guys, what do you think? And I showed this with some pom-pom trim, some little white pom-pom trim between the stitched piece and the green stuff. I also showed a lace trim. I said, what do you guys think? You know, maybe it should be something different. There were a lot of votes and most people voted for the pom-poms. I didn't dislike the pom-poms, but they covered up the green a lot, and because this is kind of a busy piece, even though it's small, I felt like it just made things busier. So I decided I can always add it later if I want to, but for now, I decided not to add trim. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about with this is how I finished the back. I used Fat Quarter Shop's 3/4 inch finishing tape. I have never used it before. I used it on both the stitched piece and on the fabric. I might never use anything else again. It's fantastic. Now, if you read a lot, some people will be like, oh my God, I read this book. It's so fabulous. You have to read it. You just amazing, amazing, amazing. And then you go read the book and you're like, it was fine. So I don't want to overhype it like that for you, but it's basically the best thing since sliced bread. Okay. I'm just going to say it. So you can tell that I did opposite sides. I did the top and the bottom first, and then I did the left and the right. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Then I did the left and the right. I cut the fabric 2 inches bigger than the mat board. So the mat board is 4 inches and I cut my fabric 6 inches square. Okay. And then because I'm a crazy person, I drew 1 inch lines inside on the mat board. Emily, why would you do that? Because when the fabric comes from the front and folds around to the back, I can then lay the edge of my fabric right on that line, and I know I'm not puckered or bloated or distorted or anything. So it's literally, you lay it down, you put your piece of tape, you fold it over. You put your piece of tape, you fold it over. That's it. None of this, like, now, I love Vonna Pfeiffer. She loves Aleene's fabric glue. I am not against Aleene's. Don't misunderstand me, okay? But she's like, you put the glue on and then you put it in the smasher to make it weight down and you gotta, no, thank you. So, I did, like I said, I did the left and the right, and then I did the top and the bottom, and it was over. And it was so easy. My corners have never been more crisp. This is unbelievable to me, okay? There's no puckering, it's not rounded. I guess this one is maybe not, maybe I would give this a 95 instead of a 100 on this little guy, if I'm being super, super picky, okay? But I loved it. So, like I said, We Santa 2025 from Heart in Hand on 40 count raw by Zweigart. It finishes at 3.5 by 3.5. My backer board is 4x4. This green fabric is a Riley Blake solid that I bought in a like random pack of extras that they have. It's supposed to say Christmas is coming. The goose is getting fat. It doesn't, it says very merry because that's what made my heart sing. And now it's all ready to go with its washer and its magnet for Christmas. Yay. Okay, that's piece number 1. That's my fully finished item. I probably should have done these in reverse order. Whoops. The second thing I worked on, so last time we looked at Hometown Holiday Town Church, and I had so much fun I couldn't put it down. And I really wanted to start another one. And I was like, no, no, no. My friend Maggie from Home on the Ridge is gonna be stitching some Hometown Holiday with me. And I was like, I can't run off and leave her in the dust. Even though there are 25, it's not like there's a shortage of patterns. But I thought maybe I could squeak out something small. Here's my something small, right? And then I finished it and it was like, what am I gonna do now? So I purchased 12 monthly minis from Primrose Cottage. Somebody is going to comment about how I'm not showing the pattern. I will try to show you on my iPad. It will probably look like garbage. Hold on. There's a text message from my mom coming in. This is not the time, Mother. This is what 12 monthly minis looks like. I think that looks like poop on the screen. I'm just not gonna show you guys on the screen. I think the whole iPad on the screen thing is gross. It's gross, gross, gross. Anyway, 12 monthly minis. I started with the December one because December's coming, y'all. And it came together in 3 days. All of the patterns use DMC. I stitched it on 40 count. Zweigart raw. This is going to be the new 32 count limestone Lugana. Okay, I just need you to brace yourself. That's where we're headed with this. And I was trying to decide, so I have some really amazing green linen that I am dying to use. And so Carrie and I were talking and I was like, do you think that all these little cutie patooties need to be the same? And fundamentally, we don't think that they all need to be the same. However, I have an antique coffee grinder, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, but you put the beans in the top and then you grind it, and the grounds go into this little drawer that pulls out. So cute. My thought was that I was going to make each monthly mini into a pillow, and then I was going to put said pillow into the coffee ground drawer, and then I could just change that out every month. They're so little that we were like, that might not work. So we were thinking it would be really cute if we Carrie's on this project now. She's creative directing my project. We were thinking it'd be really cute if we put all of them in a bowl together. So I decided to stitch it on this Zweigart Raw because I already own it and it's a great neutral. I don't love it. Like, when you stitch on it, you're not like, this is the most amazing fabric I've ever used. Like, that won't come out of your mouth, but it is a lovely grayish. and it's getting the job done nicely. So I did measure a fat quarter, and if you had a fat quarter, you could stitch all 12 on a fat quarter and still have half your fat quarter left over. So because they are so, and that's cutting your fabric 4x4 for a 2x2 piece. The stitch count is 39 by 39 for each of them. So you can do some math. Anyway, I think it's so darling. This is, like I said, this is the December one. And now, like, do you sew? If you don't sew, let me tell you the deal. You're supposed to have your sewing machine serviced every, I don't know, year, 2 years, whatever. When I bought mine, they said, you should have it serviced every year. And I was like, great. So for a hot minute, I did it. And then it was like every 2 years. And then it was longer. And I know it's been at least 2 years since I've had mine serviced, but it's probably been 4 or 5. I'm a little ashamed. Now, I am very good about taking care of my machine. I clean it like a crazy person. So it's not like it's been neglected, but it needs a tune-up. So the place where I purchased it will also service the machines, but they tend to keep them for like 6 weeks, and I ain't got that kind of time. I'm too impatient for that. So I contacted another sewing center and dropped the machine off. What's today? Yesterday. And they said it should be about 2 weeks. Now we're coming up on Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna cut them some slack, but 2 weeks was way better than 6 weeks. And they had a puppy in the back room, so hello, that was fabulous. They were delightful. They were totally delightful. My pillow, I've gotten off topic. I'm sorry. What happens whenever you take your sewing machine to get cleaned is you're like, oh my God, I need to sew all the things right now. Like, I don't even know what it is. I don't know why this happens. Now, I did sort of blow some minds on the gram when I told people at one point I had 8 sewing machines. They were like, what? So I will try to find a picture and insert it here. We had a very, very weird little niche in our last house. It was like rounded on the back, and I have no idea what you'd put in it. Like, you could maybe stand a boat oar up in it, but why would you want to do that? I asked my husband, could you put shelves in this thing? And he was like, sure. And I said, could they hold 40 pounds? And he was like, do what now? And so I started collecting vintage machines, and I had 4 on display in there. And then I had others, and they just sort of kept accumulating. And then one day I was like, this is a lot. I should maybe do something about this. I'm down to 3 vintage machines and then my 1 machine that's getting cleaned. So, I mean, 2 of the 3 vintage machines run. One of them is a little ornery. My personal belief on vintage machines is I like to oil them, take care of them, make sure that they run. You will not, this might be controversial. You will not get a prettier stitch out of a modern day machine than you will out of an older machine. Older machines that are all metal, they sound different, they feel different when you're sewing on them. They are easier to maintain yourself. And I think the stitches on them are just beautiful in a way that you can't get with modern machines today. Now, you have to be neurotic. You have to like pick it up and look at it and be like, oh my God, those are pretty stitches. Who's gonna do that? Nobody, 0 souls. So it's just, if you are sewing, that is something that sometimes people enjoy. That's what draws me to vintage machines. I have a Singer Featherweight on display over there. I could pick it up and sew whatever the heck I wanted. So I originally thought that I was gonna have this fully finished to show you guys. What a tangent, Emily. To show you guys, and then I took my machine to be serviced. See how we go full circle right there? And so I haven't gotten it finished yet. Now, I could have waited, but then we'd be having this video after Thanksgiving, and I just didn't want to wait on that. Thank you for going on that sewing machine journey with me. I know it was probably not that interesting. What else did I need to tell you? Oh, I don't know if you know this, but so Brenda Gervais came out with some new patterns. And then very nearly right after that, Paulette Stewart came out with her new autumn patterns. And then very nearly right after that, Teresa Kogut released her holiday patterns. I have been waiting for Up on the Housetop and Holiday Stroll since they were at the Jingle Ball last year. Oh man, could not wait to get my hands on them. Anyway, I placed the order for Brenda's charts through Chantelle's 141. And it was a pre-order, and I was waiting patiently. And then Paulette's charts came out, and I contacted Chantelle's and was like, oh, hi, can I add these to my order? And they figured out a way to make it happen. And then when Teresa's came out, I was like, hi, remember me? Can I add to my order? Now, I'm sure they hate my guts. I'm sure I was the biggest pain in their ass. If you spend more than $75, shipping should be free. By the time all was said and done, I shouldn't have had to pay shipping, but I wasn't about to be like, oh, hey, now I've spent all this money. Can you give me my $5 back? Because they tolerated me and all my brouhaha, and that felt really rude. My point, if you haven't ever ordered from Chantelle's, they are incredible and their customer service is lovely. And I just think that they're a fantastic vendor, supplier, shop. And if you're on the fence about somebody good to shop with, they are the bee's knees. So that's all I have for you today. You will not see me again until after Thanksgiving. So I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving, hanging out with your family and eating good food. Last year we ordered a meal and we had so much food. So we're gonna not do that this year. This year we're having an odd meal, and I think that's fine. I said, what's everybody's favorite thing? And let's have all of the favorites, right? Do they go together? Probably not. Could we have had a more cohesive meal? Probably so, but whatever. Like, if you're being thankful and you're with all your favorite people, like, who cares? So we are picking up meat from a local barbecue place because they smoke their meat and it's to die for. And then we'll make all of our sides. And it's just gonna be me and my husband and my parents. And then my neighbors, their family is in the Midwest and they aren't able to meet up with their family at the holiday. So they came over last year and they're gonna be coming back this year. So I think that'll be fun. I always think it's nice when people have someplace to go at the holiday. Mother, do not tell me how you don't have someplace to go at Christmas. It makes me feel bad. I don't want to hear it. My husband and I usually travel to his family at Christmas, and she'll always say, we don't have any place to go. And I'm like, I know, I have a lot of self-imposed guilt. Zip it. She's really great about it. She is not slavering on guilt. It is all Emily applied guilt. So I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I will probably, since these take 3 days, I will probably have January's finished by the next time you see it, maybe February's. Wouldn't it be so cool if I was like, hey guys, I did these 6 different things by the next time you saw me? We'll see. I have some thoughts about end of the year. I want to tell you guys some nerdy statistics about YouTube that I just thought were kind of fun since you have been on this journey with me. I was gonna sort of do a parade, an end of year parade of all the things that have happened here on this channel and that I've accomplished. But if there's anything specific that you would like to see, let me know, because I would love to. I am sitting in my kitchen talking to myself, okay? So if there is something that you would like to hear me talk about, let me know. I have been replying to people on Instagram via video lately because I'm working usually 9 and 10 hour days and I don't have the patience to do a lot of typing at the end of the day. So I'm just videoing people back and telling them whatever I have to think about. And it's actually kind of easier because I could just be conversational. Somebody was asking me the other day about the lamp I use because they bought, remember the praying mantis goggles? They bought the praying mantis goggles and they were like, I don't love them. And I'm like, right, because they hurt your nose. And so I showed them the headband version. If I remember, I'll put a link in here to the video. I showed them the headband version that I got, and then also the lamp that I typically use. So I have a 10X LED lamp, and it was just easier to be like, here, let me show you. So I am happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Some folks said that they would like to see the closet again now that the floss drop project is finished. It looks shockingly the same. There's just more floss. More floss now. I could also tell you a little bit about my stitching trays, but I'm not sure how. I know that there is exactly one person who's interested in that. So like I said, anything you're interested in, I'm happy to talk about. Otherwise, I'll just be here with my little pillows. I am so thankful for you guys this year. Like I said, I can't believe there are 3,000 little internet friends out there who want to come and hang out with me. I went and looked, if you were local to Dallas-Fort Worth, I went and looked to see how many seats there are in Bass Hall, and there are about 2,000 seats. So we could fill Bass Hall 1.5 times with the number of subscribers. If you're more familiar with Dallas, that's also equivalent to the Meyerson Symphony Center. And I just think that that is wild because in a past life, I was a performer. I have been on that stage. I have looked out into that audience. I know how many chairs are out there, and to think that there are that many of you out there is like mind-blowing. So I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on this journey with me and being here, and the comments and the likes and the feedback. Somebody today, we were talking about stitches and how I was having a problem with my machine. You know, it goes stitch, stitch, stitch. Well, mine is going stitch, stitch, thread. And I can't figure out why. And she said, it could be your needle. And I was like, I just changed my needle. Maybe I have a bum needle and didn't realize. And if I wasn't here in my kitchen blathering onto you people, then you wouldn't be telling me cool things. I wouldn't be telling you, maybe you don't think it's cool if you could just pretend for like a hot second. I wouldn't be telling you cool things, you know, so it has been, sometimes I don't want to come in here and film because I got to like drag all the junk out, but it has been worth it in the end for the sense of community and the connections, and I have really loved that. Oh, I didn't bring my birthday start, which is the Jardin Privé seasonal Quaker, because I haven't touched it. It's in timeout. I've been really busy making Santas and pillows, so it is what it is. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'll see you in December. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.